and they are going to be this here. So general form is the long, sort of nasty-looking form where they're not in a. We can't tell exactly which conic section it is, and we can't tell exactly where the center is or the vertex, depending on which one it is. So the general form looks like what it's supposed to before you complete the square. So I'm going to give you 3 of these right now. I'm going to give you one. The first one is going to be 3x squared plus 6y squared plus 6x minus 12y equals 0. That's general form. Okay? Number 2 is going to be this one, 2x squared minus 3y squared plus 6y plus 4 equals 0. And then the third one is y squared minus 2x plus 4 equals 0. All right, so here's 3 conics that are in general form. The general form looks like this. It doesn't look all nice and neat and pretty and laid out for us. So what I want you to do over here, okay, I want you to, on the left-hand side, I want you to take a guess. One of these is a hyperbola, one of these is a parabola, and one of these is an ellipse, all right? And if you think about it close enough and hard enough, you can actually figure it out just by looking at it from right here. I'm going to show you how to do it afterwards, but I want you to guess right now, write your guesses down, what you think number 1 is, what you think number 2 is, what you think number 3 is. What do you think these are, all right? This is just general form, anything at all. Okay, so one's a hyperbola, one's an ellipse. Okay, let's unpause this and keep going. All right, which one did you guys think is the parabola? 1, 2, or 3? Okay, put your hands up for 1. Who's voting for 1? Okay, who's voting for general section kind of number 2? You think that one's the parabola? 1 person. 2 people. 3 people. Who's voting for the third one is the parabola? Oh, the majority of the people. Okay. So you guys are thinking this one is parabola. All right. Someone tell me, why do you think that one's the parabola? What is it? What is it about that one that's different? Yeah, Juan Carlos. Huh? I have no idea what it is. What's that? Yeah. He says there's only 1 squared term. Is that right? Yeah, there's only 1 square term. The y is the only one that's squared. So that's your guess for the parabola. Okay, I'm with you on that one. That's your guess. Okay, let's talk about ellipse next. The ellipse. Did you guys guess for conic section number 1 or number 2? Let's take a vote. Who thinks the ellipse is number 1? Hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 people. Who thinks it's number 2? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh, that's almost a tie. All right. I think more people said this one, though. Okay. Anybody want to... PSC. Anybody want to give us their thoughts about why you thought that one was the ellipse? Or just pure guess? Yes, sir, in the back. Yeah. Never mind. Pure guess? Just guessing?
X squared and y squared terms are added.
He says the x squared terms and the y squared terms are being added together. Okay, all right. And then that must mean that this one has to be the hyperbola. That's your deal? Yeah? Okay, well, or triangle, yeah. So what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about the sort of the general rule here, then we're going to go back and test these, okay? So, I don't know. We're going to find out. Okay, so the general form of a conic section looks just like those 3 examples of what we just had before. So here's the generic general form. It'll be something like this. AX squared plus CY squared plus DX plus EY plus F equals 0. Okay, this is just the general, generic, any old standard form for a conic section. Now, you'll notice that there's no B, right? You guys see that? There is no B, there is no like BXY term. You guys see that in this whole thing? When you get to pre-calculus, there will be a BXY term, and that BXY term allows you to rotate conic sections at a certain angle, okay? But notice for ours, there aren't any in there, so we don't have to worry about for us, because our conic sections are just up, down, left, and right, all of them, okay? But that's why there's no BXY term. So look, you have an x squared, you have a y squared, you have a single x, a single y, and you have a constant term. That's what we're dealing with so far. That's what all of these are up here. You've got an x squared, a y squared, an x and a y, and a constant term if there happens to be one, right? So the rule sort of goes like this. It's an if-then statement. These are all if-thens. So if, then, we're going to do 3 of them. If, then. I love if-then statements. They're the best. If, and then. Okay? And so here's the deal. If the coefficient a times c, the coefficients of the squared terms a and c, Jared, you done, buddy? Is equal to 0. If it actually equals 0, then you're guaranteed to have a parabola. All right? If the coefficients a times c are greater than 0, that would also be positive numbers, right? Things that are greater than 0 are always guaranteed to be positive. Then that means you have the ellipse or circle. And of course, we tell the difference between the fact that if a and b are the same, then of course we have a circle. And if you know that a times c is less than 0, another way of saying that is that the product of a and c is negative, then you're guaranteed to have the hyperbola. All right? So that's the general sort of rule that we can take away from looking at a general form of a conic with no bxy term to figure out which is which. So now let's go back and apply see if our guesses were right. All right, let's identify in number 1. What's the value of a in the first one? Yeah, a is equal to 3. It's this one right here. What's the value of c? C is equal to 6. If I take the product of 3 times 6, what do I get? I get 18. 18 is greater than 0. What does that imply? Ellipse. Ellipse or a circle, right? But since a and b are not the same, when we would complete the square, that's either going to be one of those two. So you guys were correct. Nice job. Okay, part 2. Let's see here. What's the value of a? 2. What's the value of b? Or, sorry, c? Negative 3. Let's take the product of 2 times negative 3, and I get negative 6, which is less than 0, which implies that I must have a hyperbola, and you guys indeed were correct. And lastly, what is the value of a? A is equal to what in this case? No. What's the value of a? It's the thing in front of the x squared term. Oh, 0. There is no x squared term. Very good, right? And c is equal to what? 1. If I take the product of 1 times 0, I actually get 0, which implies parabola. And you guys guessed it right all 3 times. But now you actually have some fundamental mathematics to back it up as to why that is, okay? Feeling good about that one? Last lesson of chapter 11.